that it's a celebration of democracy, as he said. But then let's get to the INEC Chair's briefing earlier, just to recap some of the things he mentioned. He said that any Nigerian who is on the queue up until 2:30 will be able to vote no matter how long it takes. And he said, based on the reports from various states, some challenges were identified, and one of which is the inability of the commission to open the polling unit at 8:30 a.m. Another factor is the matter of insecurity. He said, Alawa in Shiroro local government area, bandits took over the road, but deployment has commenced and voting is ongoing. In Oshimili in Delta State, thugs attacked a polling unit and 2 BVAS machines were stolen. The machine has been replaced and voting has continued. In Savannah, Katsina State, it says thugs snatched 6 BVAS, but it has been replaced and voting continued. 3 were recovered by security. And he said that as they speak, right now, thugs are now attacking BVAS machines, not the ballot boxes like we used to see before. And he said that the system has an automatic way of recovering lost time. Even if voting commenced late, voting will not stop at 2:30. And then he also spoke to the fact that the commission is trying to solve a 45-year-old problem, which has to do with voters accessing polling units. Let me begin with you, for me. What do you make of his statement?
Well, first of all, I observed that Professor Yakubu appears so calm.
Right.
He appears to be in charge. And he appears to be addressing the issues raised one after the other in a manner that will ensure that no voter is disenfranchised. He has assured that once you're on the queue up to 2:30, you will cast your vote. And he also mentioned the new dimension of people going to steal the BVAS machine rather than snatching ballot boxes now. But the question is, of what use is a stolen BVAS machine to the one who has stolen it? I don't see...
To disenfranchise the people.
Well, but... The
law
in
now
the sense that
provides that it can be replaced. So
yeah,
if you stole that,
it's been replaced.
Yes.
And so voting continues. So I think we have moved ahead, some steps ahead. INEC seemed to be living up to its expectation in that area, but it didn't address the issue of shortage of personnel. Maybe nobody raised it with him. In some areas, we have shortage of personnel, and that is delaying the process. Like I mentioned earlier, the same person who used the BVAS on me was the same person that gave me the ballot paper. It was the same person that endorsed it. Okay? If there had been up to 3, maybe he would just have use the BVAS machine to capture me, and then another person is already endorsing the ballot paper, and then I just collect and go. It makes it faster. Yeah. But perhaps in some areas, what I observed did not apply in some areas. I want to believe that maybe the deployment of staff might be due to the number of voters in a particular unit, because I'm not sure that it's a uniform number everywhere.
Absolutely. So maybe the number of voters in that polling unit, yes.
Officers that they send.
Right.
Maybe that's what they are doing.
Right.
But where you have to, I'm saying that the process is a bit slow.
Then he mentioned something earlier that I didn't add. He talked about fake party agents and how it is that INEC will only recognize accredited agents at the collation centers. Perhaps that is basically a summary of what he said, Jide. What's your perspective to INEC's briefing?
Yes, I'm happy to listen to him, and I'm reassured that some of the problems that we talked about earlier.
Yes. Have been addressed.
Have been addressed by INEC. I don't want to see a situation in which Nigerians get disenfranchised because ballot materials didn't get to to them on time. So, and that's what he was stressing. That was the point he was stressing when he said, as long as you're on the queue before 2:30, you'll be able to vote. He also talked about the fact that not all parties nominated agents for this election. I think that was even made clear in the course of the week when the list of agents nominated by parties was released by INEC. You will see that PDP had the highest number of
We can't mention names of parties.
Oh. You know, the two most dominant parties actually they had so many agents, with the former ruling party having the highest number. Having agents at polling units is critical to electoral integrity, because if you are not represented, anything can happen. You know, so if your party is represented, you can at least no one will be. Your agent won't permit the process to be compromised, because your agent is going to be protecting the interests of your party. But where you are not represented, anything can happen. Anything can happen. The process can be compromised, and that is it. So he talked about the fact that not all of them nominated agents. Of course, the issue of BVAS being snatched, the two parts of the country where we talked about, especially in northern Nigeria, where BVAS machines were snatched, were already areas with a huge number of bandits. Savannah in Katsina State is one of the areas where you have so many bandits. The Rugu Forest that stretches all the way to Central African Republic passes through that area, and for that reason they've been having issues with bandits in the area. So I'm not surprised that BVAS machines were snatched in this area. Then, of course, talking about Shiroro. Shiroro, too, has a history of bandits attacks. They've killed many soldiers in Shiroro local government of Niger State. So I wasn't surprised to hear reports of ballot materials being snatched in Shiroro local government. I would have expected that INEC staff being taken to that area will have been provided tremendous security, you know, that will enable them to be able to do their work. So it's a good thing that he has briefed.
For Shiroro, he said that the bandits were on the road, but did not attack the materials. He said they took over the road.
Oh, they are trying to show that they own Shiroro. Maybe that's when don't get too close to us, that's the message that they are trying to send. I don't know. There were areas that they already told us that they would not be conducting elections. I don't know whether Shiroro was part of those areas, but definitely in the last 2 years, some of the most brutal attacks by bandits in our country have taken place in the Shiroro area, including the kidnapping of expatriates, including the killing of soldiers and all that. So perhaps people in that area will not be able to have elections, because INEC will not go to any place that they think the security of the polling officials are not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. So I hope the INEC chairman can sustain this periodic briefing so that...
Yes, he said the next briefing would be at 4:30. Between now and then, there might be some other information he might want to pass across to Nigerians.
It will calm Nigerians down, especially those who are already worried that they may not be able to vote in this election.
Yes. So as many who are yet to go out to get accredited and cast their ballot, INEC chairman has said that as long as you are on the queue between now and 2:30, it's not yet 2 o'clock, it's about 10 minutes to 2 o'clock, so you can leave now, go join the queue, and then you'll be there till when it is time for you to cast your ballot. 2:30, once you are there, whatever the time, you can cast your ballot. That's the assurance that the INEC chair has given. He talked about some parts of the East, I think Osu and one other place. He mentioned that there will be elections there because of the peculiarities. Initially, it seems like there wasn't going to be elections there, but as he stands, he said he has spoken with the Inspector General of Police and that they were going to hold elections there. That should also give some level of assurance to people within that community.
Yeah, I think that's quite assuring.
Yes.
And that's why I said that the INEC chairman seemed to be in charge, and he's doing what he should do to ensure that every Nigerian has the opportunity to cast his or her vote. I expect that he will get the cooperation of the security agencies, not just the police now, because areas that are prone to violence or known, for insecurity, he might need more than just the IG's support, to carry out an election in that place. But since he seems to have resolved that it will take place, let's hope that it will take place and people will, exercise their voting right.
He pointed out that this matter of access to polling units has been a 45-year-old problem that the Commission have been looking to resolve over the years. From your point of view, are we inching closer to solving that problem?
I think increasingly we are solving that problem. More and more polling centers are being created to ensure that we not only decongest people on queues on election days, but to move polling centers as close as possible
to the people.
On my way here in the Ojodu area, I saw that new polling centers had been created, places where we didn't have polling centers before now. I saw that we now have, not really far apart from one another, but where you can see that the population is thick. You've got to create more polling centers for people so that more and more people
can participate
and can vote. As INEC desires to ensure that no polling center has more than 500 people, but in the real sense, there are some polling centers with up to 560, 570 people, but INEC has to continue to create these polling centers so that more and more of our people can vote in utmost convenience. You look at the 2019 election, in some cases, up to 1,000 people in a polling center. You see polling centers almost as long as the Third Mainland Bridge. It discourages people to stay on such queues for so long. So we have to identify communities with very thick population and create more polling centers for them, carve out as many as possible. I'm sure when they review this particular this particular general election, when they review it, INEC will be able to come up with new ideas geared towards ensuring that more and more of our people can actually exercise their franchise on election day. It's a thing of joy to me that in the East, I think we need to celebrate the fact that our people in the East can vote a lot more than we're actually celebrating it. Remember, some individual sitting in Finland or wherever said that he had instituted sit at home on election days. He came up with a curfew on election days, and this instilled fear in a number of our people. But in the middle of that, IPOB, which actually instituted this idea of sit at home, said, no, we will not stop anybody from going to vote on election day. Perhaps the fact that it came out of IPOB gave people, and coupled with the fact that security men were sent to that area in large numbers, gave the people the confidence to come
And the person in question, talking about Simon Ekpa,
Yes.
was arrested in Finland, questioned, though he was released at some point. Perhaps that also gave some confidence to the people.
At least to some extent. It may not be. I think the presence of security men and IPOB's clear position made the difference. Because remember, before the governorship election in Anambra, IPOB said there will be no election until there is a referendum.
Yes.
And I've always said, look, there is no place for a referendum in the Nigerian Constitution. Why are you talking about referendum? It's not known to the Constitution. But about 4 days or so to the election, Igbo leaders were able to convince IPOB to renounce that plan and encourage people to come out and vote. And IPOB did that through their spokesperson, Imam Powerful. And they told the people that, look, you can go and vote. That was why we were able to see quite a number of people come out on election day, because even putting security men in the East is not enough. The people need, because even on sit-at-home days, you find that even security men, a lot of them even stay away from the roads. So the people needed that extra bit of confidence. And IPOB coming out to say, look, we are not, I think IPOB and like 7 or 8 other groups
yes,
came out to say, look, we are not going to stop anybody from voting. I think that was the difference maker. And I'm happy that our people have been able to vote in peace. At least so far, we are not hearing of people gone down on election day. In the days leading to this election, we've had stories of people being killed, you know, aspirants, candidates being killed, their vehicles burnt. So I was already very apprehensive, but it gives me great joy that in spite of all of those attacks that happened just before the election, people in the Southeast have been able